Then tell me everything you know. The truth cannot be hidden from me any longer. By whose hand was she slain?
I am the NateWL777, and here with me today is my special guest,
Vinyl Killer.
This is Character Piece. Today we'll be reviewing an anime by the name of Code Geass, Lelouch the Rebellion. This is an alternative history, mecha, military-style animation. It is 50 episodes long, that's 2 seasons, and it was originally released in 2006. In an alternative timeline, 3 superpowers control the world: the Holy Britannian Empire, the Chinese Federation, and the European Union. The story begins after the conquest of Japan. Britannia's newest weapon, Nightmare Frame, allows them to be victorious. The effects from the war caused the Japanese to be stripped of their rights and freedoms. The country has been renamed Area 11, its citizens now referred to as 11s. That is where the story picks up. I'm going to go ahead and begin with the animation. The world building here is actually very good. They do a great job of showing this alternative timeline where you absolutely buy into the Britannian Empire, the enslavement of the Japanese, basically. And it mirrors a lot of things that have actually happened in the world. You know, you can buy that these royals are keeping these people as peasants and stuff like that. I thought they did a very good job creating that environment. What do you think?
I agree with him like 100%. The scenery as well. The scenery it makes you think that animation is there. Like, obviously it does take place, Japan and those areas, but like, the animation sells it. The scenery is beautiful. The buildings, the cities are huge, and I think they did a great job on it.
You want to discuss the costume designs?
Okay, so I believe that the costume designs were one of the best parts, in my opinion, of the show, because they were able to convey a person's personality just through these costumes, because there's a lot of different people who are wearing different styles of clothing. Obviously, you get the royal people with the fancy kind of clothing, and then you got like these other, like, you know, terrorists and stuff like that who've got these more like a terrorist kind of vibe going to them. They've got, you know, like armor,
dark clothes,
yeah, stuff like that. Not like armor, but like, no. So they definitely are able to convey what a person is like just by costumes. So if you didn't know who these characters were and what part they played in it, you probably could guess by the costumes just how they looked.
Yeah, a lot of unique designs going in there. I'm actually going to talk about the Nightmares, which are the mech soldiers that they use, the mech machines. I'm not really that big into mech anime. I really am not. I don't get into Gundam. You probably won't see a ton of reviews about things with mechs in them. I've been fortunate to come across some that do a good job. I think this is about one of the best I've ever seen. I love the designs of the mech soldiers. I love the way that they utilize them and the way that they move. And I definitely feel like the powers that they give them, or the abilities that they give them while they're in them, are absolutely wonderful as well. They work very well. So I actually was really impressed with that. Again, not usually on the Gundam mech kind of tip for animation, but I feel like they did a really good job designing these and making them all unique. So I thought that was a very good aspect to it. What about the scenery?
I think, you know, once again, I think it was great. I really liked the different colors they had going into the art and stuff. It just made it blend in together, you know.
Yep. Again, back to the character design, I do feel like they made them a lot unique, and it really did sell that very well. What about the aspect of it being a little bit different kind of animation?
So, what they kind of had going for them, which kind of bothered me at first. I got used to it, but they had like a really skinny type animation. Like, their arms were like super long and their legs were weird. And it was weird to get into at first, but then I started watching it. I got used to it, and it grew on me, you know? 50 episodes is enough to go through and be like, yeah, alright, I'm used to it, and
Yeah, I kind of agree here, and I would say that for me, it's probably the biggest knock for me about the animation is the style that it was done in. Again, as it goes on, I think you kind of get sucked into it, and it doesn't bother you as much. But definitely right away, at least for me personally, it wasn't my favorite style of animation. I'm glad that I stuck with it and didn't just like get turned off right away. But there are moments where it seems like they're drawn a little funky, but it's just to me again, I think that they did a good job with the world building. They did a good job with the designs of the characters, but maybe not necessarily the way that they created their bodies and stuff like that. So
Also, not really as clean as other animes because obviously, like you said, it's not too like old, so it's not like 1990s. He said it was 2006, so it's kind of at that point where they were starting to improve, but they hadn't really improved all the way like we get in these new animes coming 2019, 2020, which still some of them are bad, but
yeah, I think that there was actually a time period where, I mean, around this time, I think that I did see quite a few animes that were kind of going for that little bit of a skinnier look, and it's usually not one that works for me very much. So yeah, that's very. Anyways, I actually thought it was very imaginative, though. I thought that they definitely, especially towards the end of the anime, as it builds up. We'll get more into the story here, but I definitely think that they use their imagination with creating that world, and that brings us to the story. I'm gonna say that this is the best part of the anime. It is extremely well written. I loved a lot of the aspects of it. Why don't you go ahead and comment on your thoughts about the storyline?
So I think when he brought up the point it was imaginative, holy crap, it is super imaginative. Like the beginning of the story, it's okay. I feel like the story at first is kind of like a slow burn for like the first few episodes, but it's not like too slow of a burn. Like it hooks you in enough that you want to keep watching. Like from the first episode, things start hitting the fan, and it just starts building up the story. And once you get midway through season 1, you're like, yeah. And then start of season 2, midway through season 2, you're like, holy crap, and you just don't want to shut it off, which is a really good part of the story.
Yeah, definitely a slow burn. It does a great job keeping you still interested, almost like just giving you little pebble pieces to chew on, little pebble pieces, and then it kind of builds to a crescendo at the end, which. To be honest with you, sometimes I have a really hard time with that in anime. I want to see action right away. I want to see things going on, and they do have some of that. It's not that they don't. It's just that this story is a very massive story, and so it's just giving you little pebble pieces. I thought one of the best aspects of it was what they did with keeping you guessing on what was going to happen. They don't reveal everything to you right, as you go. There's things that happen that like later on play out or whatever. You know what I mean? It does have some twists and turns in it, and I thought they did an extremely good job presenting that as well. Into the characters now. I think that the characters are also very well fleshed out. I cared a great deal about pretty much all of the characters, and so I loved how unique and individual each one of them was done. It wasn't just by the design, but also their personalities as well. They all had their own viewpoints, and I thought it was very explained why they had their viewpoints. And I thought one of the best things in the anime was that relationship between them, where it's like there's a lot of there's everybody's kind of got their, it's just like reality where everybody has their own viewpoints and their own goals in mind, and they are very much friends with somebody, and they don't know that might have other views in mind, and it's pretty interesting to see them play that off of each other. I thought that the chemistry worked very well, and I just thought it did such a good job of giving them all their own personalities.
Onto what he's saying, I feel like they were able to, I think they were able to give each character a backstory and at least a motive, and including the side characters, which is a thing you don't see in a lot of shows. They like to focus on the main characters. We would get a couple episodes dedicated to just side characters, which is super rare, and it was super great to see all of these side characters getting their own backstories, getting their own personality, and building up. And that's what I love to see in shows and animes and movies and things like that.
Yeah, it is a true character piece. It definitely focused on them. I thought they did a very good job. Okay, I'm going to go on to the voice acting now. I also think that they did a great job with the voice acting. I bought all of the characters. Again, like you said, even the side characters. A lot of times in anime, you get at least a couple of characters that are just super annoying voices, super annoying personalities. And I didn't necessarily feel that way. I mean, there might have been one or two, but it wasn't like overwhelmingly, and I can't even recall any of them. So definitely didn't leave that impact. But really, I thought they did a great job, and they also did a lot with the dialogue. They gave them very interesting things to say to each other, and a lot of deep, especially main character like Lelouch. There's a lot of depth to his personality and a lot of thought-provoking. Maybe philosophical thought processes involved, and it goes back to like all of the different personalities. They had such wonderful dialogue as they interacted with each other to explain, this is how I come to this conclusion, or this is how I feel about this. And I thought that was really well done.
I would totally agree with that. I feel like sometimes they would have the Dragon Ball Z stuff going on, a classic like kind of that type of anime trope where they go, I'm gonna kill you, and they're fighting and they keep saying like, I'm gonna fight you. It wasn't overly used like a Dragon Ball Dragon Ball Z definitely would have, but honestly it was even kind of effective that they didn't use it too much, but they
still used
because it was a war type. It's like war, so it's a thing you might even hear on the battlefield or something.
Yeah, no, I actually really like that, and I am not a Dragon Ball Z fan. You'll never see a Dragon Ball Z review on my channel. I'm not trying to hate on it. I know a bunch of people like it, but those are the kind of things I don't really care for. I don't care for that like quick dialogue, just fighting. There is no backstories, but I agree with him. I think that they did an extremely good job of incorporating when it was necessary and using it at the right moments. So, all right, I am actually going to get on to my favorite character. My favorite character is Colin. Colin, is that how you say it? Colin, yeah. Anyway, she's very tough character. She likes to fight. She fights for good reasons, and I loved her reasons for fighting. A lot of it has to do with freedom and not being held down. Like, she was very much fighting against the Empire, and like she stayed true. I think that there is a lot of times where characters sort of change motivations. Again, it does a good job explaining that, but her character stayed true through the entire thing. She always had the same personality. She was very, very stubborn and very just like into what she believed in, and I related very well to that because that's my personality. And I loved her. I thought she was a great character. Plus, she was very intense, and it just every time she was on the screen, I very much gravitated towards that character. So that's why she was my favorite.
And yeah, that character is really good. I'm going to add one more thing about her, is that her and the main character, Lelouch, it was kind of funny at the beginning because of just how they interacted with each other, and it was almost like a kind of like suspicion towards each other. They were like, you'll see if you'd watch the anime. It's really, I love the way the characters interact. But my favorite character, her name is C2. She's a really great character. That's why she's my favorite. She's got a well drawn out backstory. You can get a whole episode dedicated to her backstory and where she comes from, what's happened to her and things like that. And I really enjoy her a lot. She has a great connection to the main character. Man, she's one of the main, if not the main reason the show is a thing. Like, she's the main reason that what happened. She starts it, and the whole show is based off of her actions in the beginning.
Yeah, she is a very important character. So those are our favorite characters. Something I do in all of my anime reviews is I say whether I think it's good for kids or not. I would say, unfortunately, even though I am here with my son reviewing it, it was not good for kids. There is definitely like nudity in it. It's not a bunch. It really isn't. You got 50 episodes. There's only a few episodes where these things happen, but it does happen, and they do show stuff. When we first turned it on, so I watched this a long time ago, and I had forgot about those things. And when we watched it on Netflix, it gave it TV-14.
It gave it TV-14.
And so now it is actually rated TVMA.
So they must have changed it.
I'm glad that they changed it. But I kind of wish that they wouldn't have, Yeah.
And even when
so
they had it
I was-
at TV-14, it didn't even list nudity.
Yeah.
In there.
So,
Now it's TVMA
I felt like a
with
little bit of a
nudity,
bad dad because I do kind of protect him against those things, and I am picky about what I let him watch. Anyways, so yeah.
But we were like partway through the show when it started happening.
Still a really good anime though. So yeah, but really, there are things in there that are not for kids. Okay, that brings me to my rating. I am going to rate this a 9.1 or an A minus, which is a really, really strong rating. Again, I think that for me, the biggest weakness, maybe really only the only real weakness is some of the animation style, and that maybe just be preference and stuff like that. I mean, other than that, I really, really enjoyed it. So I'm going to give it a 9.1, A minus.
Well, my rating would be a 9.3, which is also an A minus. I believe that it was really great. I think my only really picky part of it was the animation, with the skinniness and stuff, and it just, with it being an older anime and not being as clean. So that was my only problem. Otherwise, great anime. One of my favorites definitely is up there, and even one of my favorite shows, to be honest. It's not as big as, Stranger Things, which I'm wearing a hat and a shirt for, but I still think it's high up there on my list. Definitely top 10, maybe even top 5 TV shows. So,
regardless of genre.
Regardless, and
well, he liked it a lot.
I also haven't seen a lot of anime, so
That's
or a lot
most
of
of
TV
them have
shows.
to be an adult to watch.
But-
I've got a list for when he gets older, so it's a huge list. Anyways, thank you for giving us a watch. If you got anything out of this review, please give me a like, give me a sub, comment below. Did you like this anime? Are you going to check it out? What is your favorite character? Did you think I rated it too high? Do you think I rated it too low? Share your thoughts below. Also, I will leave a link to his channel below. Hopefully he will start posting some more stuff here pretty
I gotta
soon.
get equipment, so
Hopefully someday. So anyways, thanks for giving us a watch, and look forward to seeing you next time.